Hey, Christy here from loomingcraftyfiberarts. Before we start on our project, I wanted to mention that Tom Swindler and I have started a yarn spinning group called Yarn Spinning University on Facebook. If you have been spinning for a while, either by wheel or spindle, or you want to learn, or you're just starting to learn, think about joining our group, because we're going to be having, we just started it just in the past week, and it's just now getting kind of known about, and we're trying to get the word out. I want to do some classes eventually, within the next month or two, I hope, of some basic yarn spinning on spindles. I don't spin on wheels, but I do spin on different types of spindles, and I would like to do some basic yarn classes on those to help those out that want to learn, or that those that are learning may have some issues with their spinning. So if you want to check us out and want to join, please go visit us on Facebook, Yarn Spinning University. Okay, to start the hat, I want to talk a little bit about the construction of it. This hat was made on a youth size or small adult size loom. It's the 72 peg Alamelt small gauge. I used all the pegs, and the way I designed it, I didn't want a lot of a brim, but I'm giving you a lot of freedom here in this pattern. If you want a wider brim, you certainly can do it. I did a knit one, purl one, and the knit stitch being the U-wrap. I'm actually not going to show that part to you, because you might want to do a knit one, purl one, use an E-wrap. That's up to you. I'm leaving that part up to you, okay? So what I'm going to be showing you today is from here up and right before I cast off. I'm not going to be showing you cast off, because I'm leaving that up to you too. I did a basic drawstring bind off, and I did work it so it wouldn't be as thick up here, and I will show you what I did up here. But I'm leaving the brim part to you. You could actually do it brimless and go straight into the stitch pattern and not even do a brim. I'm leaving that up to you. But I would like for you to keep this true to what I've designed it as, with some exceptions. And the exceptions are, this hat fits my head, and I have a big head, and I have a lot of hair. It's plenty stretchy enough for my head down here. As you can see, it's got a lot of stretch to it. I also did this for a reason. These are three peg. This is a 3-peg stitch combination. This has some stretch in it, where the Morgana stitch doesn't have that much stretch horizontally. But this does, so I knew that would be a benefit with those knits and purls in here. And also, I thought it looked nice as part of the design. So it benefited 2 reasons. So I'm going to show you how you can, if you want to use a different loom, a bigger loom for a bigger head, or somebody that prefers a bigger hat, a looser type hat. I took this loom, and I divided it up in odds and even sets of pegs. And this loom come out to being able to do odds of 3s and evens of 6s, and I alternated them all the way around the loom. So the 6 pegs is the Morgana stitch. The 3 pegs is this combination stitch right here. Okay? So if you don't have a 72 peg loom and you need one bigger, if you can find a bigger loom, or you have one that will work out that you can do sets of odds and evens, I will allow that with this pattern. But I would suggest something. If you need at least to use 3 odds for it to look right. And you could go 5, 7, but at least 3, no less than 3. As far as your evens, you need to use no less than 4. Because if you use less than 4, you're not going to have much of your Morgana stitch showing. So if you use 4 and you use 5 here, depending on how your loom works out, you're going to have more of this than you're going to have of this. Okay? So you'll have to kind of figure out the math and work that out depending on what kind of loom you have, if you don't want to use a 72 peg. If you don't have the Alamelt or a Cindy Wood, they also have a 72 peg like this. So that's the way I did it. I've got 6 here, 3, 6, 3, 6, and I took one off because I'm using it on this one. It's supposed to be 3 here. 6, 3, 6, 3, just alternating all the way around. Okay, that's how I set it up. Okay, so to get started, and I've already been playing with something on here, just ignore that. I did a garter cast on. Now you don't have to do a garter cast on as I mentioned, and you don't have to do the brim I done. That's entirely up to you. So we're going to go straight into the stitch, the body of the hat. You do your brim the way you want. I made this hat, by the way, 9 inches. And it measures 21 inches across. If you stretch it, it measures 22 easy. Okay. So, we're going to pretend that we've went all the way around because I was working on something else here, playing with it. And we're going to pretend this is our cast on. Okay? And our brim. We're just going to pretend we've already done our brim. So we're going to start the body. To start the body, we're going to do the first. I've got it set up like I did this loom. Even though this loom wasn't even out that way, I set it up like I did it on the hat. So, 6 pegs, Morgana street stitch, and then I've got 3 marked here for the 3 odds. So we're going to start out with a purl over. And we're going to do purl overs on the first 6 stitches. And all the 6 stitches, actually 6 pegs on the first row. They're all going to be purl overs. So all pegs, 6 pegs on the first row will be purl overs. Okay. And then when we get to our odd number, whether you have 3 or 5 or 7 or whatever, we're going to do a purl knit purl. So a purl, and then then an E-wrap, and then a purl. And these 3, or your odds, will always be start out with a purl and alternate purl knit purl, purl knit purl. Okay, then we're going to go all the way around, and we'll recap the rows in just a minute when I get done. We're going to go all the way around, and our second row, the 6 peg sets that you have are going to be wrap 2, knit them off, and then purl the second peg. And that is coming from like peg 2 here. You're going behind your next 2 pegs and doing a big E-wrap around, and then you're going to knit them off and then purl that second peg. And this is the Morgana stitch that I'm doing here, and I will leave something up there so you'll see the stitch if you want to go back. I'll also leave a link for the yarn that I did a review on that I made the blue hat I just showed you. Okay, so we have our 6 pegs done. Wrap 2, knit them off, purl second peg. And remember, your odd number is always going to be purl, knit, and knit, meaning an E-wrap knit stitch, purl. And it's very important you do an E-wrap knit stitch there, so you'll get that extra stretch. And then, so we have 6, 3. I've got these 3 marked, and I highly suggest you mark your 3. Then here we would go 6 again, then 3, 6, then 3. Or, you know, if it was 4, 5, 4, 5, you get the idea. Okay, so we're going to wrap around again, and we're going to start row 3. Row 3 is going to be a knit 1, purl 1 for the 6 pegs that you have on your loom, or the evens, whatever they may be. And knit being the U-wrap knit stitch, purl, knit, and purl. And I'm going to go back and knit these off. And then your these odd ones, purl, knit, purl. Okay, so you might be thinking, okay, if I have 5 instead of 3, how will that go? Okay, well, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl. Purl, knit, purl, knit, purl. Same thing. You just alternate and purl, knit, purls. Okay, so now we've finished row 3. And we're going to come to row 4. Row 4 is going to be, we knit last time here, we're going to do a purl. So we're just doing the opposite of our last row. Before we did knit, purl, this time we're going to do purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, a knit stitch being an E-wrap knit stitch. Again, if you need more clarification on this, you can go back and watch my Morgana stitch video tutorial. So your even stitch, remember your even pegs will be the Morgana stitch. This is a knit, this is a purl, and this one's a knit. And we're going to knit all these off. Excuse me, my allergies are bothering me. I don't mean to sniffle on you, I'm sorry. And then, again, your odd ones will be purl, knit, purl. And you will do this 4 stitches just like this in this sequence until you get the body of the hat the length you want, until you get to about 1/4 inch from the length. So if you're wanting to make an 8-inch hat, when you get to about 8 3/4, you're going to start something else here before you start to do your bind off. So I'll tell you about that in a minute. So let's recap real quick these 4 rows. Okay, remember all your even stitches are your Morgana stitch, Morgana street stitch, or Morgana, whatever I called it. Okay, and then your 3 pegs are your purl, knit, purls, which is right here. Purl, knit, purl, which could be a different number if you're using a different loom. That is purl overs, purl, knit, purl. That's your first row. Your second row, wrap 2, knit them off, purl second peg for your even pegs that you've got marked. And in my case here it's 6. And then that'll always, I'm sorry I didn't knit that off. And then your odds will always be purl, knit, purl. Okay, we're going to go back around row 3. You're going to knit, E-wrap knit stitch, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, until you get to your odd number, which is here 3, and it'll be purl, knit, purl always. Row 4, you're going to do the opposite of row 3 for your 6 pegs or your even ones. Purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, and then purl, knit, purl. Okay, so that will be the body of your hat all the way, and you'll do that alternating evens, odds, all the way around the loom. And remember, your loom as a whole needs to be even pegged. Okay, now when you get to, you're getting close to binding off. I didn't want all this bulk at the top. And of course you could have done a modified drawstring, and you could have whatever you want to do. But I just did a drawstring. So I go around, and what I did was I did 5 rows of E-wrap. Plain E-wrap knit stitch. The whole loom all the way around for 5 rows, I just E-wrapped and knit them off. And measure it. If you're not where you want to be, you might want to do 6. You just don't want to do too many, because you don't want to set too far down on your hat after you bind it off. If you choose to do it that way. That's if you do a drawstring like I did. If you do it a different way, you can work it out where it won't be so bulky. But I give you permission to do whatever you want to do there. But I'm just letting you know that's what I did. So again, I went around and I did another row, that'd be 3 rows, and then I did 2 more rows, I did 5, and then I did my drawstring bind off. So that's how I did the Morgana Street beanie. And this is a very nice hat. This hat will be very warm. And another bonus, I think, anybody's opinion, I'm just giving you options here. This possibly could be reversible. What you think? Possibly, maybe. I think it could be. So there's another possibility. Reversible hat. Now, someone did, before I go, and I know this has run kind of long, but I wanted to explain everything. And I wanted to mention the new yarn group in case anybody was interested. This hat, I don't even know what I was going to say now. I lost my train. I don't know. I lost my train. If I remember, I'll put it in the comments. I'm not taking this out. This is a boo-boo that I usually take out, but I'm not going to take it out. But hey, because you know why? We're all human, and we all forget things, and we forget what we're going to say. So, hey, I'm human. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. If you make this hat, let me know. I know what it was I was going to say. I know. I remembered. Someone asked me if I was going to do this in flat panel. This will not convert to flat panel and look the same. So, unfortunately, this is going to have to remain and in the round pattern. Sorry about that, but that's just the way they work sometimes. It's not gonna look right. I tried it, it's not gonna look right. Okay? Maybe I can make something else, and I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Okay. Hope you have a great day. And go make something pretty with the Morgana stitch. Make me a beanie. Bye-bye.